And welcome back. This is your man warrior. This is Aurron Grey from Ewocalypse Elite. That's really, really cool. And quickly, shout out obviously to the guild, but more importantly to the guild because they cleared a heroic Sith raid. Pretty awesome at just over 100 million GP. That is unheard of, really amazing. Obviously now it's going to happen. More and more guilds are going to be able to do it because of all the theory crafting that's happened over the last couple months, but really amazing. Still a feat, a huge feat nonetheless. So congrats to all of you guys. Pretty awesome. But I also have a special shout out to Aurron Grey's daughter, Jasmine. Jasmine listens to me and I guess enjoys my videos. That's super sweet. She hears me, and whenever I say, welcome back, this is your man warrior, she hears Scissor Man Warrior. And so she says, Scissor Man Warrior. I think that's absolutely adorable. So shout out to Jasmine. What's happening? Thank you for listening to my content. All right, Aurron, you wanted to talk about kind of the next team to focus on, individual, tunes that maybe you're missing that you want to look at, and some possible Zetas. You've been playing for about a year, and I know you say you're kind of free to play, and I know you live free to play from time to time, but you get about 1 million GP a year free to play. And since you've been playing for a year and you're almost 2 million GP, you definitely got to be a dolphin. You have to have spent a little bit from here to there. Probably not every month, but every once in a while. So you're looking really good. You did mention you were going to drop JTR into Arena just simply to try her out, learn her kit, and kind of get used to her. And so that was super smart. But you traditionally run the Nightmare team in Arena, so you don't really need any help with Arena. You know what you're doing there. And same thing with ships. You know what you're doing there. You're doing really well in both of those. So again, you just want to kind of know what is the next team to focus on. And, since you don't spend a lot of money often, you want to know kind of what's the best bang for your buck, metaphorically speaking, to put your energy into. And then are you missing any individual tunes and those Zetas that go with it? So let's move on to the very next team you should be focused on, and that is Night Sisters. Now, I know for someone who's kind of mostly free to play Dolphin, you're like, wow, this doesn't really align with your pillars system, and it doesn't. But you said you're already doing Sith Raid, and so because you're doing the Sith Raid and you've got Territory Wars and you're in a really good team, you really need to be able to contribute in all areas. And you said you need a team that's best all around the game, and this is the highest scoring damage for the Sith Raid. They're great for defense or offense in Territory Wars. They're one of the best, if not the best team for Territory Battles Dark Side, and they're even Arena viable. So this team really for the Dark Side is kind of the absolute best team for you to focus on, especially with the Sith Raid in mind. Now, there are 6 Night Sisters you kind of want to focus on, and we're going to talk about Zeta order as well. And the first is Asajj Ventress, and you're going to want the very first Zeta on this team to be her leadership ability because she's going to become your leader. And so she's going to be the #1 Zeta and the #1 focus. The second focus on this team is actually going to be Mother Talzin. She brings in Plague and a great ability on her unique Plague Bearer. And then also you can Zeta this unique, and she's going to get a ton of extra turn meter every time someone dies, aka the zombie. And so this would be the second Zeta I would highly recommend for this team. I'm going to recommend 3 Zetas for this team, and no more, because I don't want you to have too many Zetas to worry about. And then, of course, Old Daka is the third character. Now, I'm not going to suggest her Zeta, even though the Zeta is very amazing. I would actually suggest your third Zeta be Rampage, the unique on Asajj Ventress. So you're going to go Asajj lead, Mother Talzin unique, Asajj unique for the next 3 Zetas. So there's a Zeta plan for those 3. And then as far as the characters you want to focus on, Asajj, Old Daka, Mother Talzin, and Night Sister, those are always your core 4, okay? Night Sister Zombie has to be there to empower the turn meter gains with an Asajj lead, Mother Talzin unique. Old Daka is there for revive capability, which is absolutely crux. And Asajj has the Dispel and Healing, plus the Rampage. Once you Zeta, is going to bring the majority of the DPS. There's 2 others. I wouldn't worry about Initiate or Acolyte. I'd actually worry about Talia and Spirit. Now, Spirit is going to be good everywhere in the game, and even the Sith Raid works well, but in the Sith Raid in Phase 4, you are actually going to want to not use Spirit and use Talia because of her healing capability and extra damage output she can use. And so you're basically your top 5 in this lineup are going to be your most important. And then Night Sister as a subbing alternative for like Territory Wars and stuff. She is phenomenal. And why is Night Sister Spirit phenomenal when she's maxed out, or at least, gear 11, 7-star gear 11? She's going to hit for over 30K on her special possess. It dispels, it stuns, which is great. A dispel and stun is phenomenal. That's like Kylo Ren unmasked, but for Night Sisters. And Foresight's up all the time. And once, gear 11, this thing takes a lot of damage to get her down. She's really kind of tanky for an attacker. And really hard to hit. And with all of the dying and the constant taunting, you really can't focus on her because you got to focus on Asajj. And, people are trying to kill Asajj and Daka and Talzin. So they're like trying to kill Daka first. And then they're trying to kill Night Zombie next. And then they're trying to kill, old Daka. So they're working on those top 3. And all of a sudden Spirit has cleaned out 2 or 3 of their characters on their team. So really, it's not a terrible idea for Territory Wars to have Night Sister Spirit. She's a really great addition. So that's the first and most important team that I would focus on. I know you weren't sure whether you should go Phoenix or First Order or Jedi. And then after you're done with Night Sisters, of course, you can move on to your Imperial Troopers. Now, the reason why I said Imperial Troopers second is because they're basically done. Where they're at is basically good enough for the whole entire game everywhere you use them. With Territory Wars, this is enough for a counter team to take out an Empire team or Night Sisters. In Territory Wars, this is probably sufficient to win most of the battles that you're going to have in Territory battles. This is sufficient for most of the battles in Territory battles. And so, you will want to finish them off at some point, but right now they're pretty dang good. It's the Night Sisters I would focus on first. General Veers is the only Zeta you really absolutely have to have. Death Trooper, Shore Trooper, get them up to, gear 11, then 12. Snow Trooper's really great, and you got already 7 stars, gear 10. So instead of using the Range Trooper that's brand new, since you don't spend a lot of money, you may just want to go ahead, Path of Least Resistance, keep Snow Trooper, but you will want to finish off Colonel Stark for sure. And you're really close to gear 9 already. So get their abilities maxed out and get their gear level up, but do this after the Night Sisters. So I talked about the next 3 Zetas and the next team, which is first Night Sisters and then Imperial Troopers. The last thing is just some individual tunes that you may need to focus on that are just kind of out there. And I've got a couple. I've got about 4 individual tunes I'd like for you to consider. The first is Kylo Ren Unmasked, and the reason is he takes a gear 8 First Order team from not usable to very durable and usable. And so just the one Zeta on Kylo Ren's leadership ability, and all of a sudden a gear 8, gear 9 First Order team becomes something you can actually use in the game. And it will also give you the opportunity to develop the First Order after you get the other 2 teams worked out. So Kylo Ren's someone you might want to consider working on. More importantly than him, though, is Rex. You've got him gear 8, and he's the absolute best leader in the game, always has been in many facets. He's going to help with Territory Wars offensive teams to go through the defense for the opposing team. And in Arena, he constantly creeps his head up with differing factions. I know people say that he needs a Zeta. There's no way. He's already totally overpowered the way he is. So, and I know you thought you might need to develop him, and I'm definitely going to say you're right. You need to develop him. Thirdly is Hermit Yoda. I know you probably are developing Hermit Yoda already. And so go ahead and continue to work on Hermit Yoda and get Hermit Yoda maxed out. And again, he's probably already in your favorites, but definitely keep working on him until he gets to 7 stars and gear 11 for sure. Hermit Yoda can be used in every area of the game. And then lastly is Infus Nest. And Infus Nest, you've got really great mods on, and 3 stars, totally viable, and could be a Zeta you want to consider, because her at 3 stars, gear 11 with the Zeta is very, very viable, including Arena. And she is a plug and play, much like the Wampa. And if I could tell you that you could take the Wampa right now up to gear 11, you would be like, woohoo, let's do it. And so the same is true with Nest. She's basically a really utilitarian character you can plug in anywhere. So let's go ahead and put her on your top 4. So Kylo Ren Unmasked, Rex, Hermit Yoda, and Nest should definitely be in your favorites to just kind of work on them. But then Night Sisters as the faction should be focused on. Again, shout out to Jesmond. I hope that this kind of gives you that direct focus that you were looking for as far as the next team, kind of some individual tunes and what Zetas to focus on. You're doing really great, especially for being, a very small dolphin. You're really hyper-focused. And again, shout out to the guild for clearing Heroic. That's pretty impressive. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.